Well, hey guys, welcome back to Waters Family Homestead. Well, just got through having to run to town to pick up feed, and I was going to use my personal truck because I was buying so much, but I went to get in it this morning and it didn't even click. It didn't crank, nothing. The lights came on, so I don't know what's going on with it, but I put a battery charger on it anyway and went ahead and took the work truck to town. And it's a little tougher to unload and load off the back of that work truck with all the tools and stuff back there. But either way, I'm going to get this thing set up in time lapse and let y'all watch me. I got 14 bags, 50-pound bags, so that's 700 pounds of chicken feed. That ought to last me a little while. I hope anyhow. But price came down just a little bit, believe it or not. And I'll get back with y'all when I'm done. All right, guys, you've seen me in the time lapse. 13 bags, I got one left. It's gonna be tight to get it in there, but I think I can do it. I'm gonna go ahead and fill up my bucket because I can fill up the feeders. And that'll make it to where I get all 14 bags in these cans. All right, so there we go. I figured 3.5 50-pound bags per large can. So 1, 2, that's 7, and 1, 2 is 7, so that's 14 bags, and that's what I got. I've got it all dumped into cans, and I've got one of my buckets I used to feed with already filled up. I'm gonna take it in there and fill up the feeders because I put some in them yesterday, but I was down to the last bucket, so they were all about a third full roughly. It won't, each feeder won't hold that whole bucket. The feeder's 10 pounds, that bucket holds about 15. So I'm gonna take that bucket in there and get the chicken's feeders filled up. And look at her. Look at her just laying out in the doggone wet ground, sunning. Lordy, lordy. I haven't thrown them any scratch today because it's still early. My kids and some grandkids and I have plans this evening, so I'm trying to get my chores done early. So this is one of them. I had to go. The feed store closes at lunchtime on Saturday. So there's my tripod, by the way, which is what I set it up with when I do something like I just did, time lapse or whatever. But I'm guessing they're enjoying that warm summer sun or warm fall sun this morning. That one's laying out over here too. Haven't even been in there. I know I threw them extra scratch yesterday because I was low on feed. None of them are empty, but you know, I bought 2 bags last week because I didn't have time to go buy enough to fill up all the cans. And not last week, the week before last. I go through about a bag a week. So about 50 pounds of chicken feed a week. Now, that would probably be cut in half if all I did was put a feeder, you know, and throw a big scoop in there every day and let them just scratch for what they want. They would eat more of the grass and all of that. But, you know, I don't want my animals to ever stress about getting fed. So I keep those 3 10-pound feeders in there, and I fill them up when they get low. And, you know, that's just the way I do it. It does cost me more feed, but, you know, it's part of it. Feed came down some, as the guy told me today. It was $14.95 per 50-pound bag. So that's $1 less than I paid last time I bought the bulk like this. I think I got 12 bags last time. But I switched up. This can was scratch feed, as y'all see written on top. And this was pellets. Well, it only holds about 2.5. 2 1/4, some right at 2.5. And my scratch feed got bugs in it. So, you know, once I used it up, I didn't want to have that much on hand again. I mean, they can live off of it. It's feed. But what I did instead is use a smaller can and just put the bag in there, because that 150-pound bag of scratch feed will last quite a while with, you know, 25 fowl. So 3 turkeys, and it's actually more than that. It's 24 chickens, 22 hens, 2 roosters, and 3 turkeys. So anywho, I'm gonna get done with my chores, and I'll come back on here in just a second. Well, I tell y'all what, I threw a handful or 2 of layer pellets out here on the ground in both pens, and they went after it like they do the scratch. But when they realize it's not the scratch, they only eat about half of it, and they kind of follow me around still. And I use that scratch a lot as a distraction for them to go to, instead of me having to try to push them away from the gates. You know, they always want to go somewhere they're not supposed to be. But the turkeys are doing well. Guys, I figured something out yesterday. I believe I have 2 hens and 1 rooster, or 1 tom, in the turkeys. Now, the one that's in there at the feeder now is the tom, because his dangle on top of his head is 3 or 4 times as long as these 2. These 2 is kind of staying in a, you know, a little knot on top of their head, but his is actually hanging down. It's probably 1 inch long. And I don't know that that's telling me I got a rooster and 2 hens, but, or a tom and 2 hens. But it definitely looks like he's going to be the tom. And he stays up on the roost way more than these 2 females. He, most of the day he spends on the roost. He comes down for a few minutes at a time and then gets back up there. These other 2, they stay out with the chickens pretty much all day. They'll go in and out to get feed and water, and then they stay out with the chickens pretty much. So I'm thinking I got 1 tom and 2 hens, and that means I need to find me a new tom or swap him with somebody else. But see, I even threw them some scratch. So I filled up all 3 feeders. It actually took a little less than 1.5 buckets to fill all 3 feeders. So I would have done pretty much 2 full buckets. Well, almost 2 full buckets to fill all 3 if they were empty. So it's all right. It worked out well. And I've got a fig that's ripe over there. I've been waiting on it for the last 3 or 4 days. I'll walk around there and show y'all. Now, if y'all remember, I told you I had a fig ripen 3 or 4 weeks ago, but it was small. It was small like this one, which is, you know, thumb size, thumbnail, whatever, a little bigger than my thumbnail. But either way, it was smaller, but it was ripe. It turned dark, and I tore that thing open and bit into it. Y'all, that's the best fig I've ever had in my life. That thing was awesome. So I've been watching these, and what I've noticed is when they get ready to start ripening, they shoot up in size really big. See how much bigger that one is to this one? they were all pretty much the same size, but right before they go to, you know, get ripe, they will swell up 2 or 3 times their size. And I've got that one that's getting ready. And there's a few more up here. This one over here is actually the one I was showing y'all, is starting to turn. It's getting bigger. And then I've got this one right here, which is way bigger than my thumb. I'm fixing to pick it because it's getting ready to break, and it is ripe. It's nice and soft, so you just pull it right off. I'm gonna let my daughters try this thing. I don't want the birds to get it. I don't want them to beat me. See, I got another one there that's getting much bigger than these others. So apparently my figs ripen late, but that's okay. I'm thinking I may let my daughters have this one. I might eat it myself, but that thing, I'm gonna tell y'all, I didn't think I was a big fig person, but holy moly, that thing was awesome. So, and there comes my tag along. She wanted me to put more feed in her bowl this morning because that's what Sweet Pea does. But there's still food in her bowl that I put in there last night. About half of it, but she doesn't care. She wants me to put food in it every time I come outside in the morning or evening. So she's not going to get any more till this evening because they still half of what I gave her yesterday evening in the bowl. But either way, I know I never show y'all water her, but I was thinking about it the other day. I actually have the faucet on the back of the house outside the kitchen up there. You know, if I zoomed in, you could probably see it because I can see it. But anyway, that I leave that faucet with a very slow drip into a container for her water. And I go out there every now and then and just wipe it out and dump it and put it back. And that slow drip actually keeps her water container full, so I don't ever have to worry about her needing fresh water. Most of the time I see her drinking off the top of the barrels if we've had any condensation, you know, up here on top of these rain barrels. She drinks water from everywhere, but she's got a container on the back side of the house right up there for fresh water. And, you know, I see her go to it once in a while. Most of the time she comes down here. But either way, I'm thrilled about my new fig. And it's not quite dark on this side. I probably could have left it till tomorrow, but then the birds would have beat me to it. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you coming along while I refilled all my feed containers. So 14 bags plus the scratch feed. You know, if crap hit the fan, which in my opinion it already has, it's just a slow realization for the general population of the country to realize it. But basically, if I had to no more access to buy more feed, I could go, you know, if I use a bag a week, that's 14 weeks right there. Well, that's basically 3 months. So if I cut that feed down, you know, didn't fill those feeders up every day, just put a 2-cup scoop in each one, so they would have feed, but they would have to forage more, you know, not just as they want to now, but they would have to, and give them enough to keep them going. This feed could easily last me 9 months, possibly a year, because I would not be putting, you know, 30 pounds of feed out every 3 days. So I'd only be putting out, you know, that scoop holds 2 cups. So I kind of round it over most of the time. So I get about 2.5 cups out of it. So if I put 2.5 cups in each feeder, that's enough to feed the chickens. They can scratch for the rest of what they want. But, you know, there's no need to do that right now when I've got the ability and the resources to go ahead and keep this feed full so that they are healthy and they're laying more. As Alaska Prepper says, paying their rent. You know, if they're not laying eggs and you don't plan on butchering them, they're not paying their rent. And I looked while I was filling the feeders up a little while ago. There's already 6 eggs out there. And I've been getting anywhere from 14 to 18 a day, which is good for 22 hens. But I'd really love to see more than that. But anywho, I think it'll do. So for those of you that didn't hear that part of the video, feeds come down a little bit. He charged me $14.95 per bag. If I buy 10 bags or more, I get a little bit better price. So for the 10 bag or more price, it's usually $15.95 or $15.85, somewhere right in there. And, you know, that's pretty much $1 drop per bag to me. So $14 drop for buying 14 bags, that more than paid for the fuel and, you know, that I spent to go to town and get the feed and bring it back. And look, the way the Bidenomics is right now, take the savings wherever you can get it. Trust me, everything's hard, and y'all know it just as well as I do. But I'm gonna get off here. This is probably gonna be a pretty long video. I don't know how long that, what they call hyperlapse, or I forget what they call it, but I call it time lapse. Droids call it hyperlapse. So is going to be for showing y'all me filling all these cans, but there's definitely 14 bags, and they are all in those 4 large cans, except for 2 buckets. Well, a bucket and a half to 2 buckets worth, and they're still full. So, and I've got the, you know, 40 plus pounds of scratch feed. But guys, I appreciate y'all watching the video. Man, that fig just, that thing's made my day, y'all. Look, there's an ant on it. It was in my pocket. But that right there, that is absolutely awesome. So thank y'all for watching. I appreciate it. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and hit the thumbs up if you enjoy the content that I put out there. All the small channels depend on you guys that are watching the videos to hit thumbs up and subscribe to help us grow. Because trust me when I tell you, social media, and I don't care if it's Facebook, Twitter, X, you know, YouTube, whatever. I don't care what it is. Social media is not going to promote a homestead channel unless you get huge, like, you know, some of these channels that's got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 million, 100,000 or a million freaking followers. They're not going to do it because it's not their belief the way we believe. Us conservative patriots, most of us, in this type of livelihood, homesteading, are conservative patriots. And in my opinion, I haven't seen very many liberals. I have seen 1 or 2, but either way, they're not going to help us grow our channels. We depend on you guys for doing that, and I really appreciate it if y'all would hit that thumbs up, share the channel when you can, and subscribe. Thank you very much. Remember what I always tell you: Jesus Christ loves you, and so do I. Y'all be safe, be prepared. Them turkeys will walk right up to me at the fence.